Hey YouTube, how's it going? Arch Void here, and today we're going to be doing something a little special. Normally I would just bring you gaming content or live content, but right now we're going to bring you some new product, and that is the Elgato FaceCam. Recently Elgato released a whole slew of new products for everybody to, well, boost up their streams really. I'm pretty sure with all the products they now have, you could have an Elgato only stream. But anyway, Elgato's new FaceCam is touted to be one of the best FaceCams on the market. They've done away with all audio, which I think is an absolute must. Nobody is using microphones from their webcams nowadays. They've got a full equivalent sensor thrown in there. They have got a beautiful lens. It's a little chunky. Take a look for yourself.
I ain't no altar boy. I ain't no yes man. No, no. You ain't no God of mine. No, I don't need your blessings to save me. When you thought that I was done, you ain't seen nothing yet. Walk that wire, start that fire, yeah. Burn it down, oh yeah. You ain't seen nothing yet. I go harder, let the sun feel me now. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay, so that was the preview, the product trailer, the Elgato FaceCam, and here, as I'm sure you've noticed, we have three different cameras. Now, we have camera 1, number here, on the left. For me, it's in the middle. Camera 1, camera 2, to my left, in the middle, and camera 3, on my right, on the right. So, put in the comments 1, 2, and 3 which cameras you think these are. I'll give you a second. You'll need to pause the video to do the comment. Feel free. And then we're going to get down to which camera is which, and which, for obvious reasons, looks the best. Okay, I think you've had enough time. So, camera numero uno. That is the one you're seeing on your far left, or that I'm looking directly into right now, is the Sony a6400. Using just default settings on the camera. Not default settings on the camera. I'm not using any post filters. That's the word I was looking for. I'm not using any post filters. I'm just using settings that are on the camera, and that is the quality that we're getting here. It is beautiful. I'm just going to say it. It's beautiful. It's clean, it's crisp, my skin looks fine. I'm a little hot, so I'm a little glowy. Don't mind me. That's just because it's warm. I've got 2 key lights going. It is just, in the UK, we're in the middle of a freaking miniature heat wave. It is boiling. Oh. Ah, there we go. I keep having this issue with my Elgato Camlink Pro. I don't know what it is. I need to look into it. Anywho, in the middle here, what you're seeing now, I have tweaked the settings in the software a little bit, because this camera does come with software, as does almost every Elgato product. That's right. The middle here is the Elgato FaceCam, tweaked slightly. In the software, you can tweak the zoom. You get picture control, such as contrast, saturation, sharpness. You get your exposure, which you can do automatic or manually. If you do it on manually, not only do you get to change the shutter speed and the ISO, but then it gives you an overall ISO as well, which is great. You can adjust the white balance and a noise reduction in post-processing. Now, I tweaked it as much as I could to get this looking as close to my DSLR as possible, the Sony a6400, and I feel like I've done a relatively good job. I'm not an expert, so this is from a novice's point of view. As you can see, my skin is somewhere in between the two either side of me. It is nowhere near exposed as the one to the far right, but it is definitely looking more on par with what's on the left. It looks a little bit more natural. I'm quite pale anyway, not that pale, because I mean, look at it. The only thing I have noticed that in order to get my face looking as close to the DSLR as possible, you can see that my t-shirt looks kind of blue. It's not. But other than that, which I'm sure I can find a way to fix, I have only been using the camera and the software at the time of the recording of this for about 5 minutes. So I'm sure if you spent a little bit longer and looking more into the settings and what works and what doesn't, you would be able to achieve a much cleaner look than I am. I wanted to show from a novice's point of view what you could do straight after you plugged it in. And relatively speaking, it's done a really good job. The quality is there, it's super easy, and it's just an overall good product. It handles low light very well. You just have to change the settings a little bit compared to what I've got now. I had to, when I plugged it in and I didn't have any of my lights on, I was impressed because it almost blew my DSLR out of the water in the low light conditions, which is insane. So if you can't afford the key, well, I mean, if you can't afford the key lights, you probably can't afford the camera, but if you can't afford to have fancy lighting and you don't necessarily have good lighting, the Elgato FaceCam is going to be your best friend. If you want to make an investment, it would probably be better to invest in the Elgato FaceCam than necessary to invest in a cheaper webcam and try and find lighting that works, because lighting is a rather tricky business. Speaking of cheaper webcams, the far right over here, I mean, I say here, and yeah, it's on my right, it's on your right. It's the C920, straight out of the box, plug and play. You can see it leaves me looking very, very pink. Very pink. I mean, look at my lips. They're insane. I'm very pale, but I'm red at the same time. And it doesn't capture anywhere near as good as the rest of them. Like, this motion on the other two cameras are pretty smooth, but on the C920 obviously it lags behind. It just doesn't quite have the processing power that the other two do. Obviously the DSLR is going to have a lot of processing power. The Elgato FaceCam surprisingly keeps up with the DSLR very well. Now, just want to clarify, I was not sent any of these products. Each of these products has been paid for, and this is a 100% as blatantly honest as I can be novice review of the 3 products. I could probably set all 3 of these products up better than I have right now if I delved into it and put in the time. Out of the box, just for the Sony, just using the settings on the camera, the Elgato FaceCam using the very easy to use software, and for the C920 trying to use that little grey box that they give you when you open the properties is a nightmare. So I didn't even bother. And as I said, when I used to use the C920, I used a lot of OBS filters to make it look a little bit better. But this is a kind of an almost straight out of the box review. I mean, for the Sony, the settings are a couple of clicks. Stick it on, I think I've got it on cinema mode, and it looks like this. The Elgato is the only one I've had a small play around, and to be honest, I only changed a little, and a little went a long way. well, thank you for watching this video. I'm going to get rid of 3 of me because that's too many of me. Thank you for watching the video. And hopefully this has educated you a little bit on what you can expect if you pick up an Elgato FaceCam, and shown you the difference in quality between the Elgato FaceCam and the C920. It is more expensive, but in my opinion, it is well worth the leap. It's a little bit bigger, but it's a whole lot better.